Welcome H&M agents. We're going to talk about Zipform Plus. The first thing we're going to talk about is templates. So as you can see up to the top here, templates. And if you're active, you need to create some templates to kind of help you through the process of purchases, disclosures, listings, and leases if you're working any leases. I'm going to start with purchases. And we'll go real quickly through the rest of these, but once you set up one template, you're pretty much good to go on the rest of them. The first thing that you need to do is download the cover sheet. Now on purchases, I also have the California Residential Purchase Agreement. I used to do a lot of short sales, so I have the information advisory. You can or cannot put that in if you want. Doesn't matter. Short sale addendum, the same thing. And then the notice of default purchase agreement, again, that all these three have to do with short sales. If you're not doing short sales, you don't need to put it in. So the first thing you need to do is open up the cover sheet, mark the buyer 1 and buyer 2 check mark here, so that when you do fill that information out, it'll go over to the actual form. Seller, I put Mr. Seller here. Again, I was doing a lot of short sales and bank-owned properties, so I just generically put Mr. Seller. But you can look up this information. We will go over that a little bit later. You go into everything here. Escrow company, I like to put Seller's Choice or Corner Escrow. Christy Delatorre's the person that I use. You can put down Seller's Choice or whatever. Here's the information that you really need. Is H&M Realty Group, our license number, the address, and then all your information here. I don't have a fax number anymore, so I'm going to take that out of mine. And I've got all my information, so this will all go over to the residential purchase agreement. The title, again, Seller's Choice, or I have Noah Presswood from First American. Pest control company, any reputable and reliable pest company is what I put. Disclosure company, Seller's Choice. Home warranty, I always put Buyer's Choice. They're the ones that are going to live in the property if you're representing a buyer, so that's why I like to put that. Once you have that filled out, then you go back, and then the residential purchase agreement is what really we're going to go into a lot here. Okay, so disclosure information, check the buyer right here. That'll automatically fill their name once it's in there. So you see it automatically fills in your info. Going down to the next page, same thing here, Mr. Seller. That'll change once you put the seller's information in there. DRE license number for the company, and then your personal DRE license number. Property address will flow as soon as you put the property address in. And now this is just, again, this is just setting up the template. So the seller is representing, or somebody's representing the seller, not you. So I do mark that. And then a selling agent. And then the same thing here, buyer and buyer's agent. And then you see how this information flows from the information sheet. Nothing really to put here. Financing, you want to really just leave it like it is. Number 3, financing terms. Buyer direct deposit. Buyer shall deliver deposit directly to escrow. That's the best way to do it. If you start marking cashier's check or personal check, any of these, then we do have a trust account at the office where you need to fill in that information and leave the check there. All this information, again, will be filled out later. We're just trying to fill out the basic information. So you can see it carried over, Seller's Choice. Termite and inspection clearance is the next thing I want you to put. So 7A2, check seller. They used to be included in the form that they had to do the termite inspection and the clearance, but they took it out. So I always want to have that in the template so I don't forget, so please put that in. Go down to the next one. Number 2, mark seller. I don't worry about 2II here. Don't worry about that one. Escrow and title, buyer and seller check mark. I put each to pay their own, and then flows over seller's choice or corner escrow. And then the next one, same thing with title, Noah Presswood. Put down here D 1, 2, and 3. If it has a homeowners association, seller should be paying for that. The fees, the document preparation. Home inspection, I always put seller to pay for it. I put $600. I check upgraded. Again, I put buyer's choice. I check air conditioning. If there's a pool and a spa, obviously you do that. But this is the most important part. I check other, and I put any additional up to policy limit. Okay, and the reason I put that, let me separate that. The reason I put that is, if you read this correctly, seller shall pay for the cost not to exceed $600. So if you don't put that and they can find a policy for $400, that's all you're going to get. But what I do is I put $600 there, and then anything additional I can add, like a refrigerator, washer and dryer, whatever it is that I want additionally covered up to that $600. Okay. 8B2, all stoves, all refrigerators, all washer and dryer. So look at the MLS, see if all that stuff is included. Normally all stoves are included. Refrigerators you may have to bargain for, and washers and dryers the same thing. Moving down, let me go back a second here. So closing and possession, if you're an investor and you're not intending on buying the property, then you need to click this right here. 9A does not intend to occupy the property. That's just for investors there, if you're not going to occupy the property. So going down, pretty much everything's left the way it is, blank. I always like to put 31 expiration, put my information in there. If you want to put an expiration date, like 1 or 2 days, then please do that. So you can limit the time limit that they have to respond to you. A contract is valid for 3 days. After that, it becomes invalid. But a lot of agents don't even pay attention to any of that stuff. Again, Mr. Seller, and then again, here's your information. It's automatically populated. So that gives you the template. We're going to save it. Since I made some changes, we're going to go back. Okay, now let's say I wanted to copy this, because that's what you're going to do for the rest of this stuff. Let's see here. I thought it had a copy function. Huh. Oh, I'm sorry, let's go back to the actual templates. There we go, purchase. And there you go, copy. So you're going to copy this, and you're going to title it the next one there. You're going to title it disclosures, listing, and leases. Okay, and then that way you don't have to do the cover sheet every single time. When you copy it, it's going to look exactly like this one. So you're going to take out the California purchase agreement and all the rest of this stuff if you put that in. And then you're going to put the rest of the stuff we're going to go over real quick. And now these are the disclosures that are required by the office. So when you are in a transaction, if you're representing the buyer, the selling agent's going to give you all of these already filled out. You're just going to have them signed by your buyer. However, if you're listing a property, then you need to provide all these to your buyer. So real quickly, you need to download. Okay, so you go all forms over here, and you can actually download whatever form you want. You can see that the agent visual inspection is there already. The ones that are highlighted in blue are already there. So statewide buyer and seller needs to be in your disclosures. Water heater and smoke detector, real estate transfer disclosure, agent visual inspection, seller property questionnaire, lead-based paint. For your protection, get a home inspection, contingency removal when that's required, market condition advisory, buyer's inspection waiver, verification of property condition, wire fraud, supplemental, electronic signature of third party. We're actually moving away from this one, so I'm going to delete this on mine. You don't need that. Water conservation, plumbing fixtures. Orange County local disclosures, and the qualified substitute declaration of possession, which is the other form that I just got rid of. This is a newer updated form. So here are all the disclosure forms that you need to put in this template disclosure package. Okay, and go back and a listing. Listing, again, you make a copy of that other one. You're just going to keep the cover sheet. Then you're going to input the listing agreement form. Okay, listing agreement form will populate with everything that you need. There's a couple of things here that you need to add so you don't forget. Okay, so 3A2, 60 days. If within 60 days, calendar days after the end of the listing period for any extension, after its cancellation, and what this is to protect yourself. If some seller decides, you know what, the listing agreement ends in like 2 days, why don't we wait? And this buyer has already seen the property, okay? If they go into contract within that 60-day period afterwards, you are entitled to your contract, so that's why I put that there. D, the agreement that you're giving to the representing agent who's representing a buyer, usually 2.5, so I've just got that marked 2.5 there. A lot of these you have to, ask, is it leased, a solar system, alarm system, water softener, things like that, items that are owned. The multiple listing service we use is CRMLS. I always put that they need to do it structural pest control. They're probably homeowners association, so mark those. The general property inspection is done by the buyer, so you don't need to check that. The rest of these, are just if they don't want it. Photographs, signs on the property, lock boxes, then you would mark all that stuff. But they should get all that stuff. Anyway, this is again, filling in with your information from the sheet. So we're pretty much done with that. We'll save that one. We'll move backwards here in a second as soon as that's saved. And that was a listing agreement. And then leases. If you're doing leases, these are the items that you're going to need. Disclosure regarding real estate agency relationship, firm to seller, firm to buyer, the lease listing agreement, interpreter, translator if you're speaking other languages, the applications here. I use an online application company, but it's here available if you need it. Move in, move out is very important. You should fill that out for all your clients. Lead-based paint again. Lease, rent, mold, and ventilation addendum. Water heater and smoke detector statement. Property management agreement is in here because I do property management. Water conserving plumbing fixtures and carbon. Bed bug disclosure has to be in there, and possible representation of more than one buyer. Again, this is the general cover sheet, and it should be the same as all the rest of them. You just mark it, fill it in, and it'll generate all the information over to the other page. So that is all the templates. Again, this is the template section. You should create all these templates. If you're just doing listings, then just do listings. If you're just doing purchase, then just do purchase. You definitely need to do disclosures. So those are the ones that are required by the office. So please just go ahead and do these 3 at the minimum. If you're not doing leases, don't worry about that. But at least these three on the minimum. Start out with the listing, start out with the cover page, and then make copies for the disclosures and the purchase, and then fill in all the paperwork that's required for those. Okay, so that's how to do templates, and in the next video we're going to talk about actually writing a contract. Okay, thank you.